So thank you very much for you all being with us today. And what I just love about the show is that it's so funny, but also there are those really lovely little poignant moments, aren't there? I mean, I'm thinking about, the whole backstory for Lady Button that we see today, and you can see there's already potentially more to come in the future if there were to be such a moment. But
I think they're some of our favourite moments to write, aren't they? When we find that kind of balance between the poignancy and the funny, to kind of give the characters heart, and the backstories are so important for that. So I think it's lovely to be able to show that. And for me with Fanny, I think because she's so kind of stuffy and maybe quite unlikable at times, genuinely. That it's nice. I think I felt happy that we were going to explore why she became the way she is, and the fact that she didn't start that way. She's a frustrated, a lost soul. Like, she was pushed into something to kind of save the name of her family, and if it had gone down a different path, she'd have been a different person, and I think that's really a nice thing to be able to show.
And actually, in the most recent series, Lolly, your character Kitty, there's a similar, really heartbreaking, actually, when it comes down to it, kind of backstory going on there, as well as behind all that joy.
Yeah, it was sort of too sad, actually, I thought. in hindsight, we shouldn't have done it. On the day of filming it, it was very emotional seeing Kitty in that headspace, I guess. But it makes you love her more, I guess, seeing her go through all of that tragedy. Yeah. It makes you hate Emma City, unfortunately.
There's something incredibly poignant about seeing the ghosts in either a coat or a different wear. I remember when Ben was filming the moment where he, in the earlier ep, when he buries the envelope, and he had his sort of dress coat on and his hat and his pipe, and it was actually quite emotional seeing him in different clothes.
It's like me having trousers when I walk.
And Simon in his jeans, obviously.
Great day. She knows.
I mean, Simon, bearing in mind that it's with 3 seasons in, are there any moments where you regret the no trouser thing?
Yeah.
We did talk about having trousers at the ankles, didn't we? In the room, like him just shuffling around.
Yeah, they were going to be around my ankles.
Yeah,
we did the last series we did where I discover that I'm a ghost and I try and get out of the grounds, and they were all night shoots, and I was running around and it was really cold. Yeah. People don't understand what it's like for actors. Really cold legs.
We all got wrapped in front of you as well.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Everyone went home. Simon's staying for another 4 hours. And it's like fall out the back of a car and stuff. And I only had 3 layers underneath my shirt. It's hard, man. So that was the only time.
Kyle, I wonder what your reaction was to the episode that was chosen as the kind of fan favourite. Was that what you would have expected, or what was your reaction when you heard that? Was there any that you thought?
I did expect that, actually. It's a very good episode. Well done, guys. And it's great, and it's really fun and silly, and there's so much in it. I sort of forgot how many storylines there are in it. But I think that was probably it would have been my vote too.
I always wonder when, because in a way I think you've got a very difficult role because...
Thank you, finally.
Because presumably everybody on set are allowed, as actors and characters, the characters can all see each other, with Alison included. Yeah. But you have to, if one of them makes a noise or reacts in any way, you aren't technically allowed to react to it because you can't see them or hear them.
Yeah.
That's really difficult, isn't it?
It is tough. Thanks.
And it presumably reflects.
He doesn't find it funny at all. So.
No, I don't. I refuse to have lunch with anyone.
It's hard for us. In the green room.
I've said this before, and I'm going to say it again now that my mum's in the room. I had a lot of practice as an only child.
I have to say, Kyle's mum is actually in the room, and I feel. I don't know how she would feel about that kind of public admonishment.
Oh, I'll get told off. I'll be told off later. All the way home.
And I wonder if we could just talk about obviously the last time that we had you in a sort of BFI sense, you were on Zoom with season 2. And it was obviously during the pandemic. Jim had a fantastic lockdown beard. And actually Matt had a superb lockdown beard, actually, yes.
Lots of big
even on Zoom, obviously, Simon was too busy to be with us. But we had his...
Get near a laptop.
We had his US agent with us instead, so that was all right. But I wonder whether you can just talk about the whole experience of making sort of season 2 and then season 3 in terms of all the prep and stuff during the pandemic period. Anybody?
We actually worked probably harder than we have on this last series, in the respect that we were sort of grateful to have something to work on.
Yeah.
So we met at first in the evenings in the week, because half of us have got kids and have to put them to bed, and
you have dog commitments as well.
I have dog commitments, but
yeah.
quite the same. Yeah. But yeah, so we would meet at sort of 9 until like midnight or something.
9 o'clock, basically.
Yeah, it was sort of like, it was a bit whiny.
When you
It was
say,
a bit whiny,
when you
yeah.
say you'd meet in the evening, are we talking kind of cheese and wine at 10 Downing Street or on a Zoom?
No, on a Zoom.
Strictly Zoom.
Don't get into that. We were socially distant.
So yeah, we were grateful to have it. We look forward to meeting up with each other, because we weren't doing anything else.
Yeah.
So we really put a lot of time into that series, actually. And even though it was a bit sort of joyless, not seeing each other in the flesh, it was actually, I think, pretty productive in the end.
We were worried as well about filming that, because we had this cohort rule where 3 or 4 of us could come within 2 meters of each other, but not within 2 meters of any other cohort. So our director, who's here, Nick.
There he is.
Very good.
There he is.
And our producer and our first AD had to work out a schedule whereby if there were scenes where people had to be close to each other, they would have to be scheduled into a week, and then over the weekend, because it was 48 hours, you could reset and change the cohorts. So one week I'd be in a cohort with Charlotte. Well, most of the time I was in a cohort with Charlotte, because Thomas likes to be close to Alison. But we would swap. I mean, it was just a headache. I couldn't. When we found out those would be the circumstances, I genuinely thought that it wouldn't be possible to make the show. And I thought that having to wear masks apart from during a take and not being able to hang out in a green room, and I thought I was genuinely kind of worried that all the fun would have been sucked out of it. And I think a huge part of doing anything comic is you want to see some pleasure in the eyes of the performers. But the reality was, like, the one moment of the day that you could be completely free was when the cameras were rolling and it was during a take. Yeah. And so people were channeling all of their joy into that moment, and it just felt like a huge privilege to be able to be getting together when everyone else was, or a lot of people were still stuck at home. And it was really joyful when it could be.
Yeah.
What was your favourite cohort?
I enjoyed Dance Week, right? That was fun.
Yeah, we were in a cohort.
That was
I
good.
don't think we were ever in a cohort.
You must have been.
I don't think we
You
were.
must have been. We were all in.
No.
We'll make sure you're in a cohort.
It just
We owe
wasn't
an
very
awful lot to
memorable.
Nick, actually, because there was some scenes.
Yeah.
The scene at the end of the last series where we all sat around the dinner table, that was shot sort of separately in pairs, and I believe, am I right?
it was,
Yeah, it was all kind of put together.
There are shots that you wouldn't know, but there were plastic screens up between us,
Yeah.
behind the pillars, and I mean, it was logistically so difficult for them to manage to do, and the results are just, you just wouldn't know. We were just in awe of our team every day.
And obviously you continue to write in your kind of groups as well, and that obviously, well, presumably is all by Zoom as well, is there? And are you, I mean, when you're writing, are you kind of like punching ideas around and going off and writing bits and coming back again, or are you literally writing it together? How does that work?
Well, we were lucky this year to be able to meet in person for quite a few sessions.
Yeah.
And then we went back and kind of did what we did for the previous series, which was right on Zoom. So Matt and I wrote our eps together this year again, and what we tend to do is share the screen and share a script, and then one of us will edit the script as we go. And I imagine that's the same for you and Larry.
Well,
and,
Larry
you
lives
know,
in Brighton, so we were never really in person because it was a ball ache to go to each other's house. So before Zoom, it was Skype, and that's how we would write.
Yeah. But the main storylining we did in person this year, because
yeah.
we were able to do that.
We kind of start together and then go off and write stuff and then bring it back to the table, and that's kind of how everybody gets a little bit of...
And presumably because you all know your characters so well, you then kind of come in and finesse bits and pieces, do you? And is that the same? I know that Lolly and Kyle both kind of write in their own rights, but you're not as part of this show. Now that you know your characters so well, are you both able to kind of come in and say, well, I feel like my character wouldn't do this or would do this, because you know them so well?
Yeah, I think so. I think for like Kitty's episode, you guys told me what the plan was, and I said no way. So I'm not doing that.
She's not doing that.
Yeah, she would never. But yeah, it's always like fun to hear what your ideas are. I think I'm always generally on board with what it is.
Yeah, a lot comes up in rehearsals. Like,
I just want to do more funny faces and funny noises.
we sort of rehearse together, and there's often things come from that.
What about you, Kyle? I
was just thinking about in series 2 when I go up on the roof, and the first time anyone asked me if I was afraid of heights was when I was above the house. So, a couple of them.
And were you afraid of heights?
Yeah, terrified. No, no, I'm all right with heights now. But yeah, there's been loads of things that I'm always like hoping to try stuff out. And quite a few of the things that I've tried.
Well, you're bungee jumping in the new series, so...
Huh?
You're not. It's fine.
It's probably not a good idea to let them know what you're not keen to do, probably, isn't it?
Yeah. I love snakes and all that.
I guess we need to talk about Fanny.
Got to talk about Fanny.
Lucky Fanny.
Yeah. In terms of... obviously, there's the Christmas episode where we get the backstory. Obviously an invitation for Dublin Tundra continues, and I wonder whether do you actually kind of have to hold yourself back in that respect?
Yeah, we have
Incredibly strict with us.
we are we're not just, we have people looking over it as well, but Lucky Fanny being
You have a fanny pass.
Lucky Fanny being touched up by such a hand could not. It had to stay. So yeah, you had a bit of a problem with that one, didn't you, at the beginning?
I just thought someone
thought
should
it
be
was
the
too
voice
much.
of
It's a bit graphic.
It's graphic, but it works. That's the thing. It has to make sense. It can't just be funny for, it can't be rude for the sake of being rude.
It can't be a stretch for
Exactly.
the intended meaning that the character is using.
So why did you have a problem with it?
No,
we
I
want
thought I loved it.
Yes,
I loved it. I think my words in the meeting were, I'm just going to say it. Is it the
too
wrong
much?
side of the line? Is it too much?
Is it?
I wasn't saying I thought it was. I thought someone should ask the question.
Everybody's funny Christmas.
I feel as if the audience responded very well to that line.
I think they
They
did.
did.
Too. Thank
It's
you.
a winner.
Not in an "Are you being served?"
Larry
No,
D.
no, I'll let Larry know.
Yeah, he'll be happy.
They love Fanny.
Love Fanny.
See, that's too much.
That's
I didn't even know there was any double entendres. I didn't even know what you're talking about.
And did you know when you were writing it that Jennifer Saunders was a possibility, or was that just a dream casting
A dream.
that came
a
alive?
dream.
We knew she was a fan of the show.
Yeah.
So did you have her in mind when you wrote it?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Completely. It was written really for her.
And when did you know that she was going to do it? And what was your reaction?
You were thrilled.
A dream. And she is a dream, and she's amazing. But yeah, we kind of dared to dream that she would say yes, but she did. But I think it was quite late that we knew about her coming in, wasn't it?
Yeah. We never got to meet her either because she wasn't in our cohort.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Such a shame. She was there, and we didn't get a chance to sort of say hello.
Because you had a rubbish cohort, mate.
Did you hear that? Is that what you said about us? It's like the Jets and the Sharks in Button House.
It was how we had fun with cohorts.
Yeah.
We got competitive.
There was cohort banter. It was like a wedding, you know, when you go to a wedding and you find out who you sat with at the dinner. It was that each week.
How's your cohort, mate?
Yeah, it's all right, actually, yeah. Very good chat, sir.
I wonder, Lolly and Kyle, if I could just ask you, obviously, when you first started on the show, going back to the season 1, and obviously the 6 of these guys, or them there, as we should be referring to them as, have already, you know, they're a group, they're an established group, they're the writers, producers, and actors on the show. All right. I mean, obviously there's this clear hierarchy, but yeah, but I mean, was that a bit daunting as well? The fact that, that they were kind of the showrunners in a sense, and you're kind of in their show.
Yeah, they're very nasty to us.
Yeah, especially.
Yeah, they hazed us.
Yeah, it was quite difficult actually.
I mean, I actually feel like I saw a bit of bullying and harassment going outside, where I feel like on stage, you know, they just try and present this really nice.
You don't get to see it.
No. That makes the job more difficult, presumably.
I think part of the reason why it's easier is because the ghosts and the humans are kind of integrated. I think maybe if there was a divide between the creators being the ghosts and
all the people that can see the ghosts and the people that can't.
But I think straight away you're mixed up and.
Does that make it more difficult if you want to be critical about the writing or anything in particular?
Are you critical about the writing, Lolly?
No, I reckon Lolly
We've
would.
got a separate group chat.
I'd say
What's that?
no, I think the writing's so good that generally I didn't have any
Should we go
problems.
so you can answer on
Yeah, if anyone wants to stay to hear the real truth.
The Mr. and Mrs. headphones on. And one thing presumably you're aware of is that this is sort of this fan fiction and sort of a lot of fan sort of theories and sort of I mean there's a big desire for the fans to sort of like to connect some of the dots and work out some of the storylines in advance. I mean, has that affected any storylines in any way?
Fanfiction.
Yeah.
As opposed
to fan fiction.
Well, they're like naughty stories.
Oh, God.
I mean, there's fanny fiction.
You can't help.
This is why we have to be strict about it.
Yeah.
And in the BFI of all places,
exactly.
I'm sorry.
Sometimes, you know, the fans will suggest something or write something, and we don't obviously steal from them, but there are occasions where we've gone, oh, they're quite close to what our plans are.
Yeah. For the most part, we've already.
Most of it's already
got
plotted
to-
out,
yeah.
really. We already know kind of what we're going to do as far as the characters are concerned.
Jim's right, there was someone who hit on something we had planned.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So go figure.
No.
And that's the thing, it's like, you know, it's,
That's one tweet out of thousands.
And tell us about the location itself, which is such an incredible kind of part of the whole show, really, isn't it? The actual
we're really
building
lucky.
itself.
Yeah.
And I mean, that is an inhabited building, is it, or is that?
It's
Habited by ghosts, yeah. No, it has quite a weird history, doesn't it? There is a ghost story, or there's someone. What's the story about the head in the bag?
So Sir Walter Raleigh's wife lived there, and apparently the bag that contained his head was found or discovered.
She used to wear it.
That was after we had
wear it.
That was
shooting.
that was
Bag
Big
serious too, I
news
think.
story. They
Wear
found
the
this
bag.
red velvet
Wear it
bag,
around
and
the
they
waist,
think
like
it
a
was the
fanny
bag
pack.
that his head.
Yeah, so all very sort of Humphrey.
What's he saying?
What do you make that up?
What are you
Walter
saying?
Raleigh's. His wife used to wear the bag around her waist, like a fanny pack, I said, without wanting to talk about fannies again. But she did do that,
Yes,
apparently.
apparently.
But it was a sign of affection.
Devotion, yeah.
That's going to fall down.
What?
The head. The bag.
The head's in the bag.
Yeah, but how's that
But
sound?
the head's not in the bag.
Tied around the
Around the
waist.
waist.
The head was
Carry a
buried.
bag.
It's not like a plastic bag. What's this bag?
How's that going to stay up?
What's this bag in
Like a
there?
string bag.
Like a
Yeah.
tie.
I think we've got three
Heads in the
A weirdo.
three different conversations going on.
That's ridiculous.
It's great to meet you, by the way.
Let's talk about this later.
Maybe it was preserved somehow, pickled maybe.
I
Smoked.
think they just sort of dry up like a raisin.
They have to be, do they not have to be like smoked or something, or like cured somehow?
yeah.
Otherwise the maggots
hollowed
get
If
in.
you're going to eat it, yeah.
Eventually, they dry out.
Are any of you aware of, or have you felt any kind of like sort of sinister presence in the house?
Yeah.
No.
Lolly.
Yeah, 6 of them.
We always ask each other the same thing. We play a game like, how much would we have to pay you to sleep in this house? No books, no phone, no lights.
There was a room you dared me to go in, wasn't
and
there?
you,
Oh yeah.
you did it.
Yeah, I did
I
it.
couldn't believe it.
Yeah, I did it.
And how much money did you get for that?
Jim, let me out.
Pitch black. Yeah, you should.
Nothing.
Jim, just let me out, okay?
It wasn't
Just
long
got a
before
bit
that.
scared. I left eventually.
How long is eventually?
No, it wasn't long.
About 30 seconds, isn't it?
Seconds or minutes?
Yeah.
Like
Longer than
half a
I would
minute.
have done, let's say that. It was really spooky.
Seconds.
Oh, it was
then.
definitely a min.
Yeah. I would have done it. I got called to set.
A hot min.
What's called to set?
I guess the other thing is that you're all so busy, and it's a big core cast, and you're and you're together collectively a lot during the programmes. Is it difficult to kind of work out carve out the time to work together because you're all working on lots of different projects as well?
We work at around the same time every year, so we have that kind of slot.
Someone wrote a film that's made it a bit difficult.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
wonder who that would be.
So this guy's written.
Oh, yeah. There isn't going to be a 4th series. No, yes. There can be problems, but we work around it.
As long as everyone wants to come and do it, I think
Yeah.
find a way.
I mean, we might as well. I mean, in terms of the elephant in the room is that there is a lot of speculation about a 4th series, but nothing has been officially confirmed. So can we ask for this moment now for you to set the record straight on that one?
I can't remember what we were told we could.
You were told you
We
can.
can, yeah.
Say it, it's
You were told you can.
Yeah.
I mean, Jim's been talking about writing this year. I'm like, yes, there is.
Something else. Yeah. So we start
pretending you
filming
Yeah,
in
we start in January.
second week of January.
Yeah,
We start filming.
yeah.
Yeah.
So the scripts are done now, are they?
That's why I look like this. I don't choose to
Yeah,
look. Like.
we've got our first read through on Monday. Yeah.
Molly, you're in it.
Oh.
It's all right.
Have you got the script? Have you been given the script?
No.
You get the
Yeah.
So it's
Still kind of writing them.
Yeah, actually, I'm doing a bit of a draft tomorrow with Larry, so you'll get them tomorrow.
So is Kyle actually going to be in the 4th series?
Oh yeah.
The divorce has happened. This is like 5 years later. Maybe he could be a goat. Anyway, let's. God, that's a good idea. I can trademark that one.
Yeah. So yeah, the weary old cat is out of the old bag.
Yeah.
And we are doing another series. Yeah.
And are we going to see some of the characters in the basement a bit more than we have this last season?
Yes.
You are, we hope.
Hopefully.
Well.
They're in there, but we're worried about
hard
COVID
to-
now.
Is that what happened? Is
Yeah,
that
that's
is
what
that why we
happened.
haven't seen so much
Yeah.
of them recently?
Yeah.
We cut them
Just
because of
me.
COVID, and then we wrote them back in because we thought it would be fine.
And suddenly it may not be.
No, it might not be now.
We'll see.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we'll
They've
work
kind
out.
of got. They've got to be in one of them.
Yeah. Well, they're kind
know.
of. Well, let's not. But there might be a way.
There might be a way.
I think there is a way.
And the other thing I'm intrigued by, because I haven't seen any clips of it or anything at all, is that there is now, in the States as we speak, an American version of Ghosts.
Yeah.
Which I know you have exec producer credits on, but
Yeah.
what is your involvement in that? And have you seen it? Do you like it? What's your take on it?
Great. We love it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
we were involved in the early stages of the creative side of things, so we were sent scripts and had sort of discussions about characters and how many ghosts there should be, and obviously they're different ghosts because it has a different history. And yeah, we still get sent all the rushes and everything else, but the truth is that we're busy doing our own version, so we can't devote too much time to it, but we're really happy with the way it's turned out.
Could you ever imagine, I mean, I know that this is probably not something that's ever been discussed, but if it went on, because obviously it's series 1 now, but if it went
Yeah.
on for future seasons, could you ever imagine some sort of crossover between the two shows?
I think it would be
rules of the
weird.
ghosts.
Yeah.
Yeah, we sort of
They
quite.
stay where they die.
They have
I
to
don't
stay
know
where
how you
they
do it,
die.
but
Intriguing.
Yeah. Get to LA.
It would be a bit
You're the
weird,
wouldn't
wouldn't
you? You can do whatever you like. You can change
Well,
the
we
rules.
could,
and-
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it'd be weird. I
We'll be
think
living in LA anyway, so we could do.
Simon will be, probably. You right, Si?
Yeah,
I mean, I was just thinking about the American the guy who plays me. Well, not me.
Yeah.
The politician character. They when he lifts his arms up, they sort of you can see
pixelate it.
they pixelate
They do.
his business. Business. And I found that was an odd choice. But it's their choice.
But it's there.
Something they've never done for you.
You are?
They've never pixelated you, though, have they?
No, well, it's a mystery what's going on down there.
Not for us.
No.
Not for these guys, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of anything specific. To talk generally first, which is that I think pre-watershed is a brilliant restriction that you have to work around. And we've already spent quite a lot of this Q&A talking about Fanny. But, or even the thing about whether you see what's underneath Julian's shirt. And I think there's a lot of fun that we have in testing where the boundary is of what we can do pre-watershed. Also, restrictions in terms of budget. We don't have an endless budget, and so one example I can think of is we had the idea of the wedding, and immediately thought, "There's no way that we'll have enough money to have a crowded wedding." So we had to write a reason for there not to be many guests, and that became the crux of the story, is that it's been snowed off and very few people can get there, and can they get the most important people there? And so that provided a load of story for us, which wouldn't have been there without restrictions.
Also having sort of the only ghost that can physically affect anything being probably the most resistant to doing it really helps generate kind of story and conflict. So that's something that we rely on quite heavily, but it always creates some funnies, having Julian being the person having to be the most helpful.
Katie, your her costume.
And it's really comfortable, isn't
It's
it?
so comfortable. Yeah. It was my idea. To
Wakefield
have it
is
like that.
a breeze.
Yeah. I really like Thomas's costume.
I like Thomas's one.
If I could wear a costume, it would be Thomas's costume.
Yeah, I
in
think
real
so.
life.
I would wear Mike's costumes.
Yeah, Mike's got some great
tracksuits.
Yeah.
We always
Dungarees.
look quite longingly at Charlotte and Kyle's costumes, just the fact that they can change into different ones.
Yeah. And obviously mine and Ben's costumes sort of speak for themselves as being uniforms. So I would go for Matt's as probably my favourite, I think. Well, someone would have to die.
Yeah.
So we could introduce a ghost sort of via a flashback.
We
So that would
sort
be the only
of
way.
cheated and did that with Annie,
Yeah.
Mary's friend, because we liked the joke of them reminiscing about one and not realising they never told Alison that there was one for all that time.
And we toyed
it's
with
sort of-
Barclay as well, didn't we? We sort of
Yeah,
toyed with
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
Like we couldn't have him die on the premises because we didn't want him to be a ghost.
I think it goes back to the question before, which is that the challenge for us is to keep it going with what we have, and it's a cheat. I think if you change it, and I think any classic sitcom that you can think of, it sort of, you don't really want it to change. The key is to keep the situation returning to itself. So, no.
I mean, as for the guest star...
Having said that, George Clooney's in the next season.
Yeah.
It's a dead
There you
body.
go.
No, he's not.
Timothy Chalamet, is he going to
Guest star.
to it? No. I think that we when we cast Jennifer, it was very much because it was a Christmas special, and I think it's probably fair to say that that the fact that it's a special and she's in it is a complete special, if that makes sense.
I also guess I guess having Jennifer Saunders in it as well, although she's a star, everybody knows her and recognises her, she's so good, isn't she, that she actually could just get into that part and you can kind of forget that and put that to one side as well.
Yeah. Totally, yeah. So no plans as yet.
I feel like I'm not that busy.
Yeah, you're not in every day when you're attached to these shows. You know, if you're a crew member, then you're in all the time from the beginning day to the end. And when you're an actor, often the schedule determines how much time you spend on the job. So often you can probably do a couple of jobs at the same time, straddle a couple of jobs.
Yeah.
Last year on Sex Ed, and then Ghosts, I was a week late on Ghosts, and that we've had that a few times with Lolly and Simon.
I was going to say, with something like Sex Education, would they shoot the kind of school scenes in one block and then, or do you have to kind of keep coming back? Or?
Yeah, well, the school is a different building to the assembly rooms. The assembly hall is in a different town, so we have to go to the assembly hall, and that was the last thing I filmed in the previous series. But not because it's a different classroom, so no, not really.
I guess they have just. I mean, that's
they certainly block kind of all of Gillian's stuff and get her out sort of within 3 weeks because she really is extra busy. But
I guess that's where the schedulers come in, isn't it? They just have to work with everything, and they have to make it all work for who's available.
Yeah. So the truth is that sometimes you can be doing 2-3 jobs at the same time. Yeah.
Schedulers, very important.
Very important. Well, it has been so great to have you all here in the flesh with us tonight. Who knows what will happen in season 4? Maybe we'll get to know the captain's name. We might find out more about Lord Button. We might know who has the 3 nipples. But in the meantime, big thank you to all of the panel for being here today. Thank you so much.